Hello, and welcome to Assets, where we're pioneering perpetual prosperity. I'm going to show you some things today here, folks, that you've probably never seen. And if you have seen them or heard about them, you probably had no idea where to go to get them. Some of these are exclusive to us, and we take great pride in that. I want to talk about what industry has produced the most millionaires and billionaires in the last 100 years or so. You guessed it, it's real estate. Andrew Carnegie's famous quote says 90% of all millionaires became so through owning real estate. And this quote is still considered very relevant today. Back in 2016, on the Forbes Billionaires list, 22 newcomers said they owed their fortunes to real estate. Now you're probably wondering, if real estate is the greatest thing since sliced bread, why aren't more people doing it? And there are some definite barriers to getting involved. Usually it requires large initial injection of money, either for the down payment or the loan. A lot of times you feel like you have to have good credit, which a lot of America doesn't. There's also the liability. That's a huge factor. The risk of injury on your property and getting sued. I have one client who came to me a little over a year ago, and he thought he was doing the right thing. He had 18 properties at the time, and he had each property inside of their own LLC to kind of spread the risk, or at least he thought that's what he was doing. Well, unfortunately for him, the law team, the lawyers that were bringing the case against him, because he had a contractor that was working on a ladder inside of one of his properties, and that contractor fell off and he broke his leg and he broke his neck. So he sued my client. And the lawyers that were bringing the case against him, they did their job. They researched it and they found these 18 different properties that were all inside of their own LLCs. And when my client was in front of the judge, he said, yes, you own 18 different LLCs, but unfortunately for you, you're the owner of all 18 of these LLCs, which means you're the owner of all 18 of these properties. And if I see fit, if you lose the case, these 18 properties will be up for grabs. We'll talk a little bit more about liability and a better vehicle than an LLC towards the end of the presentation. But just know that there is lots of risk involved in real estate. There's market volatility. The real estate markets fluctuate all the time due to economic conditions. There's financing risks. If you're using leverage and mortgages, this can amplify your losses if property values decline. Just think back to the most recent collapse of our economy back in 2009. The mortgage industry and values of homes and real estate plummeted by over 50% in a lot of cases. If you needed to get money out of those assets in that time, it was going to be very difficult. And if you were successful, the amount you could take out was much less. Now let's talk about something more in today's digital age. Let's explore digital real estate. You might be asking, what is digital real estate? Well, I'm specifically talking about local business websites that are built for SEO and for lead gen. These cash flowing machines, they often earn their investment back in months, not in years. There's no market fluctuation. Businesses will always have the need to advertise and get their products and services in front of potential clients. There's a much smaller investment. It's much easier to scale and get multiple locations a lot faster than in traditional real estate, and there's very little risk, if any. Now what we're going to spend a little time on today is the rank and rent method. I've owned a marketing company for the last 20 years, and for about the last 10 or 12 years of this, we've done this rank and rent method. And you might be asking, well, what is this about? Well, we build a website, and then we optimize it and rank it highly in the search results for local service-related keywords. An example, emergency plumber in Dallas. These digital real estate, the website owner becomes the digital landlord, and he rents out or leases out the website to these local businesses that are in desperate and dire need for leads. The businesses get immediate leads without having to build or pay or rank a website themselves. And as I'm sure you know, most businesses, 95% of businesses fail in the first 5 years, and the main factor in that is the lack of leads. They just don't have enough quality people that they can put themselves in front of on a daily basis and try to sell their business, their service, or their products. So businesses rent and they lease these websites in exchange for the exclusive leads that are generated from the website. And here's just a few examples of what these websites look like. I'm sure you've seen similar ones before. Now you might be asking yourself, or me, Jason, why would a business lease or rent a website? Well, and that's pretty obvious if you think about it. These websites produce highly targeted buyer leads. There's not a better lead on the planet. In general, you've got two types of marketing. You've got intent marketing, which is search. That's when you whip out your cell phone, and if you've got a leak under your sink, you type in emergency plumber in Dallas, and those first few businesses that show up get all the business, and you're going to reach out and contact those. So 71% of consumers actually do this. They pull out their cell phone and they search for a local business or product or service. Now 61% of those consumers make a purchase within 24 hours of searching. So that means you have a leak under your sink, you pull out your cell phone, you type in emergency plumber in Dallas, and usually the first, second, or third business that pops up, you're going to reach out to them. And 61% of those people buy or have the plumber come out to fix their problem within 24 hours. Now 46% of consumers actually make the purchase within an hour of searching. Folks, there's not a better lead in the world. This is absolutely the best lead to put in front of a business. Now, what's disruptive marketing? So, you're on your phone, you're scrolling your social media posts, you're on Facebook, and you're checking out your friend's wedding they went to last weekend and their kids' soccer and softball game that they participated in. And boom, all of a sudden an ad pops up. Now, don't get me wrong, I've bought lots of stuff from Facebook ads. They know me so well. They know everything I love. I mean, we are just offering up our world, all of our information to these social media giants. And they're constantly looking at us and storing our data and spying on us. So the ads work. They're just not the most efficient. As you can see here in the green, the average conversion rate for a paid ad is 0.77%. That's less than 1%. But again, disruptive marketing is not all bad. The average ROI on paid ads is $2 return for every dollar spent. And I feel like most businesses could get behind that. Again, it works. It can be successful. But it's just a lot harder sell when you're scrolling on your Facebook ad and an ad pops up. There's not the urgency that there is when someone's actually searching out, searching for your business, searching for your service, searching for your product. Let's look at the digital advertising landscape. So you can see U.S. business advertising is a $360 billion a year business. If you take that globally, it's $600 billion annually. By 2028, digital advertising is expected to represent 76% of all ad spend. Obviously, technology today, the internet, it's only growing, it's only expanding. So let's talk about some SEO ranking factors. And if you don't know, SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization. And Google and Bing are basically the two biggest players, where Google has the largest, the largest majority of all business. And they have over 200 ranking factors that come into play when they rank a website and show them towards the top of the search results. Now, Google has what they call Page Speed Insights, and that's a tool that they built. And it kind of combines a lot of the top ranking factors into one, and it gives you a score. The average website score for mobile devices is a page speed of 40. That's not great. The average load time for a page is 8.6 seconds on mobile. And I'm sure you guys understand our attention span these days is not great. It's very short. So if a website's taking 8 seconds to load, you and I and everyone else is just going to skip on that one. They're going to back out of it, and they're going to go to the next load, the next page in the search results. And hopefully that page loads a little faster. Now for desktops, it's a little better in your laptop. The average page speed is a 60, which is a little better, but still not great. And the average load time is 2.5 seconds, so a lot better. Now, why would you choose an assets website? So we have a proprietary software that was built specifically to rank and generate these highly targeted leads. Let's look at some of our page speed rankings. So you can see right there at the top, this is from October 4th, just a few days ago. This is for a template that we've built. Now, all of the sites that we build are custom to the client. It's not just a cookie cutter, everyone gets the same thing. But you can see there the big 97 at the bottom. That's what this particular page speed score is. And if you look over there to the right where it says 66 for SEO, don't let that concern you. Like I mentioned, this is just a template. And so what we've done is we've added to the robots.txt. It's just a file that's inside of the website that disallows the websites disallows the search engines from gathering the data and searching on the site. Just prevents them from doing that. So the SEO score is low. But once we add your logo and once we add your business name and all your pertinent information and your website address and your phone number, then that SEO score will be much higher. But even so, at the 66 that it is now, the overall page speed score is a 97%. So imagine when that SEO score is much higher. Now this is for mobile. The next one is desktop, and as you can see, our performance is 100%, our accessibility is 100%, our best practices is 100%. The overall page speed score is 100, and the SEO is still at 66. So when we turn that on, when we activate it with all the client's pertinent information, this page will not be beat when it comes to ranking in the website, in the search engines. So let's go ahead and take an example of the current top ranking websites. For the keyword, we've talked about emergency plumber Dallas. Again, this is from October 4th, just a few days ago. You can see this website is the top dog. It's the first one that pops up in the search results when someone takes out their phone or their laptop or their desktop and searches for emergency plumber in Dallas. And this page speed score is a 33. And this is for mobile. For desktop, it's a little better at 71. Now, if we go to the second listed website in the search results, this one is a 32 ranking, and their SEO is at 100%, but the other factors are just not great. Okay, so it doesn't take much at all for us to build a website, rank it in the search results, and overtake these other businesses. And for the desktop, for this second ranked business, they're at a 65 overall score. So assets websites are built specifically and designed to rank and generate leads for local businesses. Again, this is the number one thing most businesses need. They need highly targeted search intent, buyer intent leads. And that's what these websites, that's what these assets that we build can provide. So in our business model, we've got some key players. So we've got, of course, assets, which is the parent company. Then we've got affiliates, and those affiliates go out and they find the digital website investors. They find people who want to buy a cash flowing investment. And then we've got sales representatives, and our sales team, they go out once someone purchases a website. They go out and they rent and they lease that website to the local business. So it's super easy to do that because these websites generate, again, amazing leads. So they just go to people that don't have a website that's ranking near the top. Maybe they're on page 3 or 5 or 7 or 10. maybe they don't even have a website, and they tell them, hey, you can buy this lead, you can buy this website, rent this website from us, and all these leads are exclusive to you. Now, if an affiliate also wants to be the salesperson and they want to rent that out, they can do that and make a little bit more money. There's no problem with that. But I didn't want our affiliates to have to feel like they had to go sell to local businesses. If they want to, great. We'll pay them for their work. If not, we've got a sales team that does that for them. And then we've got customers. And the customers in our business model are basically the website owners. They're the digital landlords. And lastly, we've got clients, and those clients are local businesses that are leasing the websites. Pretty straightforward. So our websites cost $2,500. The typical cost for a website is anywhere between $5,000 and $10,000. And then your high-end custom websites, maybe that have, a couple hundred or thousands of products, can cost anywhere between $20,000 and $30,000 on average. You can see our chart here to the right. When a website is sold, assets takes 50% to build out the website. The affiliate who referred whoever bought the website, they earn 20%. Affiliate 2 and 3 both earn 10%. And then our operational fund for future growth takes 10%. And then when we lease the website out, when our salesperson does that, this is what month 1 looks like. So the website owner, the digital landlord, they earn 40% every month. Assets takes 25%. And we're still every month ranking the website and doing more things behind the scenes for marketing to make sure that website continues to stay near the top. We're creating content and doing all that stuff. The salesperson earns 20% of the lease per month, every month. And affiliates 1 through 3 all earn 5% of that income. Now this is month 1, and month 2 it changes a little, but the only thing that really changes is now the salesperson, instead of earning 20%, is earning 10%. Again, that's per month. And then the operational fund for future growth, maybe for any advertising we want to do or any bonuses or anything like that, takes 10% of the cut. Some of these websites can rank, can lease for anywhere between $1,000 and $5,000 per month. So in this example, it's $2,500. All the things are the same. If you buy a website from us and we rank it out and lease it out to you, to a business owner, you're going to earn 40%, which is $1,000 a month. Not too bad, considering you paid $2,500, and within 3 months you'll have made $500 profit, and every month going forward is all pure profit. And in the next example here, the same thing. This is just month 2 and beyond. Again, the salesperson goes from 20% to 10% per month, and the operational fund takes that other 10% for future growth. Now, another great thing that can happen is you don't have to just, rent this thing out or lease this thing out monthly. A lot of business owners would be happy to pay for a year up front if they can get a discount. And in this example, we give a 20% discount. So you come to us and you say, hey, assets, hey, Jason, I want to buy a digital asset. I want to buy a website and become a digital landlord. And you pay us $2,500 for that. Within a very short period of time, you could turn around and get a $9,600 commission, $9,600 kickback to you for owning that website. The business owner is happy because now they have all those leads that are exclusive to them. They're highly targeted, high buyer content leads, and they got a 20% discount by doing it. And then everyone else gets paid up front as well. Here's an example of a one I just built for a client. It looks like about a month ago now. And I hadn't even had the website completed yet. I ran across a business owner that would benefit from it. And they said, hey, I'll write you a check right now for $19,000 for the year to have exclusive access to all the leads. And I took it, and obviously this is not a legit check, but this is just an illustration to show you of what happened. So let's just look at some potential earning example in our business model. So if you're a digital landlord now and you purchase 3 websites from us on a $1,500 lease, you get $600 per month per website. That's $1,800 per month residual income and all you did was make an initial investment of $2,500. Let's say you ramp that up a little bit and you buy 5 websites. You still get that same $600 per website per month residual income, and that equals $3,000 per month. I don't know too many other opportunities, folks, where you can turn this little of an investment into $3,000 per month residual income. And of course, you can scale this as fast as you'd like. Now let's just look at a potential affiliate income example. So let's say you refer 10 customers to us, and again, a customer is someone who purchases a website. You get $500 per website sold that you referred. So 500 times 10 is $5,000 one-time commission. And the monthly lease, you're getting $75 just as an affiliate. You didn't have to sell any website to a business or do any leasing or talk to any business owners. You're just getting $75. So 10 times 75 is you're getting $750 residual income on a monthly basis. All right, we're going to switch gears here a little bit and talk about another thing that's exclusive to assets. And this is called SBO, which stands for Search Box Optimization. And guys, this is fairly new. I first learned about this about 2 years ago inside of my, I talked to a lot of people in the advertising and marketing space since I've been a business owner for 20 years in this space. But search box optimization, that's when you go to Google or Bing and you start to type in your keyword, which again, let's just use the same one, plumbers, emergency plumber in Dallas. And I'll show you what that looks like here in a second. But in SBO, you actually can buy a keyword and have exclusive rights to that keyword. And every time someone searches for it and they click inside of the automated, how Google fills out the form for you, and you just click on it, it's going to take you to a website, a web page, just a Google result, and there's no competition. It's all you, every single thing for maybe 5 to 10 pages. So basically, SEO search market is a $100 billion a year market. You'll have exclusive rights to each keyword. So someone can purchase emergency plumber Dallas. It's much less expensive than pay-per-click. It totally eliminates the competition, and I'm going to show you what that looks like in a minute. And not only that, but it absolutely looks like Google and Bing are recommending your business to whoever's doing the searching. So let's take a look at what this looks like. So you go to Bing and you type in personal injury lawyer in Boston as the keyword. And as you can see, the big black arrow there to the right is pointing towards our client, Harding Bizzotto. All right, and here's what happens. If someone just goes ahead and scrolls down to that third one and they click on that, instead of finishing typing out the keyword themselves, here's what happens. Everything that shows up on this page is our client, Harding Bizzotto. You won't find any other lawyer group, any other business anywhere within these search results in the first 5 to maybe 10 pages. And it's kind of hard here to show you with limited screen space, but go do this yourself. After we're done here, or even pause the video now, go to Bing, go to Google and type in personal injury lawyer Boston, and then when Harding shows up, just go ahead and click on it and just scroll through the results. It absolutely looks like Google and Bing are recommending Harding Bizzotto to all of our clients, all the people in the world that are searching. This is incredible. There might be 1 or 2 other businesses in the world that are offering guys this, but they're not doing it this way. This is exclusive to assets. All right, now let's look at Google. Same thing here, personal injury attorney Boston. That's a different keyword, even though it's very similar. And this, our client Michael Smith bought this. So it's personal injury attorney Boston. You type it in and you see the big blue arrow there, which that won't show up in the search results, but you'll see this. You click on Michael Smith, and what happens? Boom. Michael O. Smith, Mass Injury Group, which is his company he owns. Law offices of Michael O. Smith. There's his phone number. There's his website. And for the first 5 to 10 pages of the results will only be Michael O. Smith and Mass Injury Group. Guys, this is unbelievably powerful. This totally eliminates the competition. Now let's look at what this income potential is. So these keywords are going to sell, rent, lease. You don't actually buy them, but you lease them and rent them on a monthly basis, just like our other digital asset, the websites. So they rent or they lease for anywhere from $1,000 a month up to $20,000 a month, and in some cases it could even be higher. So here's how that breaks down. To rank the keyword and the cost to getting this done is 50% of the lease. Assets is going to take 20%, and then all three affiliates are going to get 10%. So us as a company, we take 20%, but we pay out to our affiliates 30%. So if you were an affiliate and you referred this to a business and they bought this one keyword, and again, this is one keyword. Most clients start with a couple, maybe one if it's expensive, and then by month 2, by month 3, they want 5 to 10 other keywords in their industry so they can completely dominate the search results. So if you are that affiliate and you referred it, you're going to earn $500 a month. It's pretty simple. Imagine if you had 10 of these. 10 of these at $5,000 a month is $5,000 a month in residual income. And not only are you happy, but the business is ecstatic. And guess what? If for some reason the business decides that they don't want to do it anymore, which very rarely happens because of how powerful this is, then we'll just go and find our sales team. We'll go and find another business in their industry, another client, and we'll add them onto the shelf, and you'll still get paid for that. Now, there is not a mark here for a salesperson, but if a salesperson does actually do this, so let's say you sell a website to someone, and then after a couple months they're happy and the salesperson says, hey, you know, we've got you this digital asset, this website that's doing great for you, but check out this SBO keyword. Check this out. And the salesperson will get a kick of that as well. So with assets, you've got our digital assets. You've got our passive income generating websites, and you've got our passive income generating SBO keywords. All right, guys, we're going to switch gear here a little bit now to the financial planning, the financial aspect of this. We've dealt with only the advertising, the marketing aspect of assets. Now we're going to talk about the financial part. So I've owned a financial company for the last 6 years. We specialize in 2 things, and that's what we're about to talk to you. This first piece of the puzzle, the contract law trust, folks, this is, and I can't stress this enough, this is the most important part of the puzzle for financial wealth for generations, for securing your family's assets and securing their wealth for generations to come. There is not a better tool out there. Being in this space, being a business owner for 35 years, owning and operating 9 different businesses in my life, being in the financial space as an owner for 6 years, and just being enamored by how the wealthy do this, this is the absolute #1 tool that every family in the world should have. Every family in the country should have. It's imperative, and let's show you why. So I'm sure a lot of you have heard this Nelson Rockefeller quote, and he says, the secret to success is to own nothing but control everything. And when he talks about that, guys, he's talking about this trust. This is paramount. Now, he doesn't say one of the things you need, one of the keys to success. He says the secret, the absolute secret to success is this trust, guys. Now, this trust was designed specifically for both asset protection and tax reduction, and we're going to go into that a little bit. But this specific trust is a non-grantor, irrevocable, complex, discretionary spendthrift trust. And once you get this thing set up, you're going to start protecting your family's assets today. So it is a titanium vault for your assets. This trust will protect you against tax liens, divorce and alimony, child support, creditors, government agencies, our overbearing government. This trust will protect you. This trust is based on contract common law, It's not a legislative trust like every other trust out there. This trust is not subject to eminent domain. And what does that mean? That means the government can't come in and strong arm you if they want to build a road in the back of your property. I have 2 clients in Texas that own ranches, and the government tried to come in and say that they had standing water on their property, and the government needed to take that property and do something with it. Now my client said, whoa, 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 Uncle Sam, Mr. Government, I don't own this property. A trust owns the property. I just manage it. And they gave all the information to the trust, and they said, now you take this to your lawyers and you come back to me. And both of my clients were so happy that they had this trust and they had their property, their ranches in the trust, because when the government came back, they said, you guys are right. We can't strong arm you through eminent domain and offer you 10 to 20 cents on the dollar. How much do you want for your property so that we can buy it? And both clients denied their request, and they kept their property. There's also been 0 turnover orders. The only time a judge or our government or any agency has any kind of jurisdiction over this trust is if fraud is committed. So if you're out there screwing people over, shame on you. Your assets are up for grabs, but that is the absolute only time. They have 0 jurisdiction over a contract law trust. The next big thing this trust does is it can legally reduce taxes. So this is a one-of-a-kind registered copyrighted spendthrift trust. It's able to defer taxes legally per the IRC. There's 0 gray area. It simplifies the accounting process. This trust doesn't file a 1040 like all your LLCs and S-corps and other business entities. This trust files a 1041, and there's full transparency. We show every dollar that comes into the trust and every dollar that leaves it and every dollar of income that we defer. We've filed over 13,000 tax returns, and none, not one, have been flagged for an audit or even a clarification on things. Every single one of the 13,000 tax returns have been approved by the IRS. Now, I know the IRS is big, bad, scary government agency. Uncle Sam is a turd. They're scary. Now, tax evasion is illegal. Intentional omissions are illegal. Improper deductions are illegal. False allocations are illegal. Improper credits or exemptions are illegal. If you're trying to conceal assets, that's illegal. If you're trying to hide funds or hide money somewhere, that's illegal. We don't do any of that. Now, tax avoidance is legal. Here is the handbook for special agents, the Criminal Investigation Intelligence Division of the IRS. Now, I find this kind of funny, so I'm going to just read this to you. It says, agents, our tax system is based on an individual self-assessment and a voluntary compliance. The material contained in this handbook is for confidential in character. It must not, under any circumstances, be made available to persons outside the service. Now, guys, tax avoidance is completely legal. Inside of this special handbook, it says any attempt to reduce, minimize, or alleviate taxes by legitimate means is permissible. We have the IRS codes that we use built directly inside of our copyrighted trust. So this contract law spendthrift trust, it was designed by a collaboration of tax attorneys, CPAs, trust attorneys, and contract attorneys. The taxes are deferred until assets are distributed. And again, this trust was designed for asset protection and tax reduction. It complies with Scott on Trust Law, Uniform Trust Code, Restatement Third of Trust, and the Internal Revenue Code, the IRS. It conforms with all contract, trust, and tax laws in all 50 states. Capital gains are excluded. I'm not going to read you the codes here, but you can pause it and look at it. And you can go do your own research and see what it is. But as long as the money is allocated, the money that comes into the trust is allocated to the corpus of the trust, and it's not paid out or credited or distributed to any beneficiary during that taxable year, capital gains are deferred. You can defer the capital gains into perpetuity. Now, one question you might have, and I get this daily on my conversations I have with clients, is, well, Jason, this sounds great, but how do I get my money out of the trust? That's a great question. Well, there's two ways you can do that, and one is a distribution, and that's what happens in 99% of trusts out there, is you take a distribution, and that's a taxable event at usually 37.5%. And then we use the demand note, and that's non-taxable. And you might ask, well, how does a demand note work? Well, that's simple. Once you set the trust up, you're going to start to sell, which is different than if you have all the other trusts out there and you convey your assets over. But you're going to sell your assets to the trust. That's a non-taxable event. You're going to sell it on a cost basis. And the trust, you set this trust up tomorrow. You start to sell your assets to it. Well, the trust doesn't have any money to pay you. So it's just going to give you a promissory note and say that it promises to pay you in the future when it has the funds and when you need it. So when you want money out for your person, you're going to take the demand note because you sell your property for $500,000 today to the trust. And then when you need money out, you're just going to use the demand note, and that's non-taxable. The trust owes you $500,000 tax-free in that scenario. So let's just recap this contract law trust a little bit. This thing is the absolute king of asset protection. There has never been a turnover order in this trust's existence of almost 500 years. All other trusts are legislative law, and they're just considered an extension of you. If you take your legislative law trust that you got from your lawyer or your bank or your trust shop and you get sued and you go up in front of a judge and you show them your big bad trust that you have and it's legislative law, the judge is going to say, well, I'm sorry, but you set this trust up, you granted it into existence. This trust is just an extension of you. Therefore, these assets are yours. That's not the case in our trust. This trust has never been penetrated unless fraud was committed. Never been penetrated. You can't find one instance where a judge could take an asset out of this trust because they have zero jurisdiction over a contract trust. And the trust can defer taxes into perpetuity. This trust can defer legally all passive income taxes. That's all real estate income. All real estate income, you can defer the taxes into perpetuity. And of course, capital gains as well. Can defer all capital gains into perpetuity. Now this trust can partner with an LLC, and that's our strategy that we use if you have a business you own or you have any active income. And just by partnering up with the LLC, we'll show you the strategy and we can convert that active income into passive income so that you can defer those taxes as well. This trust is not for profit. It's for purpose. This is your estate. This is for your future children. This is for your current children. This is for your children's children, your great-grandchildren. This trust will be in your family for generations to come. Now, once you got the trust set up, now you need to get the trust some money. And how does the trust generate money? Well, it can own businesses. It can do, it has unlimited DBAs. It can run businesses. But the strategy that we use, and this is something that you won't find anywhere else out there, is the infinite banking concept. Now, a lot of you probably have heard of the infinite banking concept. And basically, what is that? It's using high cash value whole life insurance as a bank. And once you set up your IBC policy, your infinite banking policy, the policy becomes the working capital for the trust, for its investments and for its expenses. So what's the infinite banking concept, you say? Well, it's again a whole life, high cash value insurance policy that has cash value. It has a living benefit. Unlike most other insurance out there that just has a death benefit, this has a living benefit. You can access the cash that you put in. It has guaranteed ROP. You might say, what is ROP, Jason? ROP is basically ROI. It's a return on your investment, but in the insurance world, they call it premium. So this is return on premium. You get a guaranteed rate. Doesn't matter what the stock market does. It doesn't matter what Bitcoin does or any other cryptocurrencies. You get a guaranteed rate every single year. And with this, we're basically chasing the dividend. The dividend is a bonus on top of that guaranteed rate. Now, the top insurance companies have paid dividends for over 100 straight years. They paid it through the First World War, through the Second World War, through the Civil War, through the Great Depression. They paid it through the crash of 2009. Insurance companies are usually the one that bail out everyone else when we're in a recession. Banks go to insurance companies for money. Insurance is the safest, absolute safest place to store your money. The elite and wealthy have warehoused their money in insurance companies for hundreds of years. It's a principal protector. You can't lose money in this type of policy. And again, the wealthy use insurance, where the middle class and the poor rely on the FDIC. Guys, what a joke, the FDIC. Now, you know, when you put your money into your bank account at the regular bank, your checking account or your savings account, it comes with a clause that says your money is guaranteed and backed by the FDIC, so that if you lose the money, we will cover it for you. Well, the joke there and the false sense of security is that currently, within the last few days, the FDIC has approximately 1.15% in reserves of all the money that's in bank accounts. So guys, you're not getting your money if something catastrophic happens. It's a false sense of security. That's why the wealthy don't rely on it. They use insurance providers. You might be thinking, I don't know, Jason, is IBC for me? Why don't you, when we're done with this, or pause it right now, go look up BOLI, which is bank-owned life insurance. Bank of America currently has about $24 billion invested in this strategy. Wells Fargo has $19 billion in this strategy. JP Morgan, $12 billion. PNC Bank has $10 billion currently in this strategy. Truist Bank has $7 billion. And other banks have money in this too, guys. Every single bank out there is using this strategy. What's crazy to me is that banks can print money out of thin air through fractional reserve banking. That's how I ended up down this rabbit hole. That's how I ended up here. Because I read a book, the Jekyll Island book, about how banks work and how the banksters, the fraudsters, tricked our government into the Federal Reserve and all the banking stuff. And basically what happens is you go to your bank and you deposit $1,000 into your checking account. So your bank ledger says $1,000. Well, then I walk into the bank and I say, hey, Mr. Banker, I need a loan. I need $900. So the bank gives me $900 out of your $1,000 that you just deposited. And guess what? Your bank ledger still says $1,000. My bank ledger now says $900. That's $1,900. They printed and brought that $900 out of thin air. They can do that. That's why I wanted to own my own bank. I wanted to start a traditional bank, but I found out you needed $33 million in cash liquidity to do that. And I'm not going to lie, I was a few million and then some short. But I didn't let that deter me. I kept on it, and I figured out the infinite banking concept. I was blessed to find it. So banks, again, can print money out of thin air, and their number one strategy for their tier 1 capital is the infinite banking concept. They put every penny of 25% of their tier 1 capital, and the only reason they don't put more is our government, who always has our best interests at heart, says you're limited to 25% of that tier 1 capital. All right, you're still thinking, well, Jason, banks, yeah, that's great. Good for them. I don't know if IBC's for me. Pause the video and go look up COLI, corporate-owned life insurance. Here's just some of the top corporations. They all use it, but here's just some of the top ones that are using it. Walmart has all their employees. They put a policy just like I'm explaining today on their employees. Actually, about 10 or 15 years ago, they got in trouble because when a new employee would get hired on, they stuffed this policy inside of their new employee packet, and they just had everyone just, they don't read the information. They were just signing it, and they weren't explaining it. They weren't being upfront and telling their employees that they were putting a policy like this on them. So they got in trouble. But guess what? Did that deter them from doing it? No. They still do it today with every single employee, but they're just more upfront with them. They just tell them about it. And that's Walmart. Procter & Gamble insures over 15,000 of their employees. They have this type of policy on those employees. Disney used their high cash value policy, the two brothers that did it, used their high cash value policy, and they borrowed money out of it to create Disney World. McDonald's, I'm sure you guys, a lot of you have seen the Ray Kroc story, the movie. Ray Kroc used his high cash value whole life insurance policy to launch the Ronald McDonald ad campaign. Without this type of policy and insurance, we might not see Disney World or McDonald's as they are today. There's estimated over $100 billion in cash value in policies of corporate owned. That's $100 billion in cash just sitting there that's ready to access and ready to deploy for expenses or investments or whatever they see fit. 74% of the companies out there with over 1,500 employees use the infinite banking concept. Now let's just talk about real quick again the benefits of IBC. Cash value. The money can be borrowed out and used for anything. So every dollar that you contribute goes towards your cash value and builds it up. And then when you need it, you can take it out and use it. It's tax-free growth. That's why everyone uses it that's in the know. It's tax-free. It's a guaranteed ROP. You get a dividend every year. And the death benefit, guys, unlike other insurance, that's the only benefit. With this, the death benefit is just a cherry on top. And when the trust owns the policy, the death benefit gets dumped in there when someone passes away, and the trustee who manages the trust, they take that money and they reinvest it. They rebuy up more insurance on the other beneficiaries, and they just keep this cycle of perpetuity going. You will always give the provider, the insurance company, less money than you receive in this type of policy. What you're essentially doing is you're purchasing equity. You're purchasing a future death benefit. Every contribution, every dollar in premium that you deposit grows exponentially. And great, guys, it's zero risk. You cannot lose any money in this strategy. Absolutely zero risk. Everyone should be using this strategy. It should be the foundation for every family in America. But guess what? Our governments restrict insurance companies from advertising this type of policy. Now, you see term insurance policies all day long. You watch a football game, you're going to see 2 or 3, or a basketball game, 2 or 3 term insurance policy commercials. But the government doesn't love the fact that this is tax-free growth because they can't get their grubby hands on any of it. Now, what about term insurance? Since I just mentioned it, you know, most people are taught to get insurance, term insurance. And why do I call that the great false hope? Term insurance is only paid out between 3 and 7% of the time. So that means 93 to 97% of the time, people pay for the policy for a majority of their life, but there's no death benefit paid out. Why is that? Well, term insurance costs increase as you get older, and your death benefit goes down. It decreases. So what happens 97% of the time is the insurance cost becomes prohibited at a certain age, and people just cancel. They might have been paying on this thing for 15, 20, 30, 40, even 50 years, and they have to cancel it because it's just not cost prohibited. The death benefit is not enough for the cost involved. And this happens 93 to 97% of the time. The insurance companies love term insurance because they hardly ever have to pay it out. Now, yes, if someone passes away and they have a term policy, it does benefit them and their family. Absolutely, 100%. But the majority of the time, it doesn't happen that way, which is why it provides a false sense of security. You think you have it, you think you're covered, and by the time you figured it out, you're too old, it costs too much, and you can't get some other type of insurance like this. Whole life, which is what we're talking about, is the exact opposite. Cost goes down over your lifetime, and the death benefit increases. Every single dollar you put into premium here increases the death benefit and increases the cash value. Why IBC? One last time. And like I've talked about, if IBC is good enough for the largest banks, the largest corporations in the world, the most wealthy people in the world, don't you think it's probably good enough for you and your family? I'm telling you it is. All right, and here is something. You can go to your local insurance guy and get an IBC policy. It probably won't be set up properly, but you can get one. But the thing that separates us from every other guy out there, every other insurance provider out there that we know of, is we combine the trust with the infinite banking policy. We are the absolute only company that does this for the little guy, for you and your family. You usually need over $100 million in assets to get this strategy. And you need a family office. And it doesn't come cheap, guys. Most people will never qualify to learn this information. So with this trust, what does the trust and the banking policy do? It allows us to offer an enhanced version of the infinite banking concept. Okay? And here's just a few points that turn this amazing opportunity, this amazing policy, into something that is just incredible. So with the normal policy, you come to me and you say, hey, Jason, I want to get a policy. I want to put $1,000 a month in this thing. And I say, great, let's do it. We set you up. We get you going. And, 6 months down the road, maybe you sell your house and you have a large influx of cash. Or maybe you inherit money. Or maybe you sell a business, or you sell some stocks, or Bitcoin goes to the moon and you sell off some of it. And now you have $50,000 that you want to put into a policy. With a normal policy, you're not allowed to do that. You're capped at the $1,000 a month. Now, there's a little bit of wiggle room to pay some additional money, but it's a very small percentage. So you're capped. So what happens in that scenario, and I have many clients who have experienced this over the years, is that we just have to start you another policy. And that's not the end of the world, but every time you start a policy, there's a cost of insurance, and it's more in the first few years. So it's just not the absolute best situation. With having the trust own the policy, we actually can open up this almost secret warehouse to store your cash, and we're allowed to dump in an additional $200,000 over and above what your premium is. You can't do this anywhere else. One of my clients, who I just helped set up the trust, who's been a friend of mine for about 5 years now, he told me he has 12 of these policies. And again, that's not the end of the world. Great for him. Good for him. He uses all of these policies with his real estate business to move money in and out, to capture all of that income, to earn interest and dividend on every dollar that he puts in, even after he spends it. So another big benefit to this is that we actually, from day one, we MEC the policy. Well, what does MEC mean? MEC means Modified Endowment Contract. And all that is back in the late 80s, about 89 or early 90s, our government, who again is always looking out for us, that's all they care about is the little guy, is they came in and said, hey, we are not getting our hands on enough of this money. It's all tax-free growth inside of these policies. So they created this invisible MEC line, a Modified Endowment Contract, and it basically says you can't put more money in these than set amount. And once you do, it converts to a MEC policy, and a MEC policy becomes taxable. Every dollar in, every dollar out becomes taxable. But with the trust, we don't care. Why don't we care? Because at the end of the year, the insurance provider is going to send the trust who owns the policy. It's going to send them the 1099. And they're going to say, wham, bam, thank you, Mr. Insurance Provider. And we're going to defer those taxes. So we don't care if it's taxable event. And a MEC policy is actually the initial intentional way these policies were designed. And they produce better results, and they're more efficient. So by having the trust, it's just a way for us to get around the silly government restrictions and regulations. And one of the biggest last things that the trust can do, if it owns the policy that nowhere else can do, is that this is the only way you can use pre-tax dollars to fund the policy. So the money comes into the corpus of the trust. It hasn't been taxed. And then as a trust expense, because a life insurance policy is a trust expense, they can take those pre-tax dollars and pay for the premium of the policy. Guys, this is super key. This is important. You cannot find another way to use pre-tax dollars and get out of the stranglehold of our ridiculous government and Uncle Sam to fund these policies. You can't find it. This is it. This is the only way to do it. And I'm happy to help. As one of my clients just told me the other day, is this strategy that you won't find anywhere else, unless you have $100 million in assets and you have your own family office, is this financial strategy that I just shared with you is a perpetual cash flow money-making machine. It's perpetual. It's ongoing. It doesn't take very long at all, a generation or two down your path, down your journey, for there to be hundreds of millions of dollars inside of this trust. All because of this one strategy. So we're just going to touch base in a little quick recap about what exclusive offerings come from assets. We'll start with the orange, the business model of rank and rent. Other companies are doing this, but they're not offering this to average everyday people like we are. The website building software, again, we have a proprietary website building software that will build custom websites for clients with the sole purpose of ranking in the search engine results and generating the highest, best possible leads you can find, who are searching, who are looking for whatever service or product that you have, or what service or product these businesses have. SBO, again, I don't know of one other company that offers this, and I'm in this space for 20 years. You can buy a keyword that's exclusive to you, and it looks like Google and Bing are telling the world that you're the only player in the game and are recommending you. You just can't find it anywhere else, folks. And then another thing we do that can't be done without the trust is the enhanced version of the infinite banking concept. The infinite banking concept is incredible, but it goes to a whole nother level by having the trust own it. And then last but not least, the most important piece to your family's wealth and generation for future generations is our contract law trust that's copyrighted. There's just not a better piece or tool that you can use if you want to secure your assets and produce ongoing generational wealth for your family. In closing, guys, I know I was a little long-winded, but I hope you can tell my passion I have for this and how important this information is. For the last 6 years with my financial company, entrepreneurs and super successful business owners book meetings with me all day long. I take, 3 to 6 calls every single day of these business owners who've made millions upon millions of dollars in their own right, in their own businesses. And what happens is they book a call with me and they're like, Jason, I need your help. And I say, tell me what you got. What do you have going on? And they proceed to tell me every single aspect of their business that they've spent their entire life building. They tell me their business structure, whether they're using an LLC or a C Corp or an S Corp, or whether they have multiple LLCs and a Delaware corporation or a Nevada corporation, or however it's structured. Maybe they've got a holding company. They tell it all to me. They tell me how much income they make. They tell me their life savings. They tell me how they're producing their leads, how they're generating revenue for their business, whether that's paid ads, whether that's search ads, whether that's social media marketing. They tell me everything about how they're generating leads. They tell me all the assets that they own and their companies own. They tell me their different real estate that they have, their different houses that they own, the land that they own. They tell me their equipment that they might have. They tell me all of their assets that they've spent their entire life building. And then last but not least, they tell me their tax nut. What's their tax liability? How much are they sending into Uncle Sam on a yearly basis? They pour their heart and soul out to me and tell me every single every single detail of their business and their life. And then they say, Jason, can you help? And then I proceed to show them our strategies that I've briefly talked about today. And just for an example, one of our clients ran over $100 million through his trust last year and deferred every single penny in taxes. Deferred all of it. And guess what? The IRS approved the tax return. They approved it. Why? Because he's doing everything above board. He's following their rules and regulations that they set forth. They just don't share it with the little guy. That's why I'm here. They approved it and said, yes, great job. Keep that $100 million for you and your family. So guys, in closing, I've taken all of that knowledge that I've learned from thousands of super successful business owners and entrepreneurs over the last 6 years. I've taken everything that they've given me. I've taken all the knowledge that I've learned from starting 9 different businesses in my adulthood in life, and even in my childhood when I started 2 businesses. I've taken all of this information and I've turned it into assets for you to share with you guys. Assets was born from all of this knowledge. And that's it. I empower you guys to reach out to the person that shared this with you, or reach out to me directly and ask me the same questions that thousands of business owners have asked me over the last 6 years. Ask me how I can help them. How can I help you and your family? And I'm happy to do it, guys. Thanks for sticking with me for this probably hour-long journey that we are on. I'm excited for you. I'm here. I'm willing to help. Let's take it to the next level for you, your family, your kids' kids, and their kids. Let's do what's right by them and their futures. Thanks for being here, guys. Talk soon.